Lost in translation. At first I was like, wow. PA listened again. Be nice to make that video. We are getting super armor moved up on our debuffs. Then I heard there was a change to the cooldown times. Not an issue for me, as I could not safely use my debuffs to good effect more often than around 3 minutes. So a PvP buff, I was worried for the PvEer, but I was going to sit back and listen to what was said. Then things started to look suspect. I see Quick 2 get an extra 3% then not. And I remember. The super armor video also mentions 3% and even application of evasion and damage reduction changes and additions. They were all in one feedback series I did, where I explained justification for each change. Was not just I want this style video. Real thought and research had gone into the areas I was talking about. Was this my fault? Problem is, it looks like things were lost in translation. The 3%. Yes, I mentioned Quick 2 and it's 6% and how that is not enough, and why. I pointed out that 9% is more correct. But I stated, 3% of that is a fixed passive. Maybe I wasn't clear enough, not added to the skill, but 3% evasion rate more, as a fixed passive, for reasons explained in the original video. We see the notes say Kick 2 now has 9%, and then this is removed. Did someone point out this mistake? Will we see it where it's meant to be, as a fixed passive? For reasons explained in the video, someone must have agreed, just you got the execution wrong. I don't know what has gone on here. I mentioned super armor on debuffs needs to be instant and why. You have done that. I gave the reasoning behind it. I guess you agreed. And I made mention of DR and evasion buff. This had nothing to do with our debuffs. They were two separate issues. I did not suggest changing how debuffs are applied. If this misunderstanding happened, then my justification in the video has nothing to do with your choice to change applications of debuffs. Therefore, do you have a reason? Because mine have nothing to do with your changes to application. Yes, I mentioned Shai we're gonna win skill, not because it needed improvement or longer timer. I pointed out it was a band-aid. I have no idea why you even went there. To make it look like we are getting positive changes, why would I think any of the changes relate to my feedback series? Because you tried to do what I asked. You got one thing correct. I can only assume if you were using my feedback and reasoning, changes were lost in translation. This means, if people do not like what you have done, excluding the super armor's change, it was not my fault. This is not how I explain the needed changes to you. My videos are still there. People can see what I asked. Maybe I explained myself poorly. I understand that changes to debuff timers has nothing to do with me but relates for PvE balancing. That's why I had nothing to say at first. Other Shai know PvE better than I and I was going to wait for their feedback first. You may have reverted or changed things in the time it took me to push out this video. That doesn't matter. You need to understand my feedback was not interpreted correctly. I will do my best to improve my method, but this isn't one way. Hopefully this video clears things up. Following are some original clips. Taking hits. Shai does have 6% evasion on one skill and I will go over that later. Action. She can now move and bongo. Oh, that was a big deal at the start. But it was a gimmick, a band-aid, hardly used now, but that's for a later topic, if Shai wishes to do. Yes, we have Quick 2 and S6% evasion for 20 seconds. Nice, but there are two issues. 6% alone is not enough, an addition passive will help boost this. But this does not fulfill Shai's image as a supportive group player who is meant to be passive, meant to be non. The time essay takes to be functional, just too long. You expect Shai to use her debuffs, you count it as part of her kit, and use it to balance the class's power. A second for it becomes protected. This is a joke. Our buffs are unprotected, fine, keep that, but why have the debuffs, a defensive function, be so useless? Shai should be able to cast this out and worry a would-be attacker. That attacker gets debuffed and has the choice to run. The current scenario. She goes to debuff, the attacker attacks, Game over, even in a group. Shai is a priority target. SA should be near instant, and if someone wants to stop that Shai, they have to pay for it with a grab. Don't have a grab. Welcome to my world. Fair is fair, other classes have the tools they need to deal with it, make them choose. This is not just non-PvP, but outright unbalanced if Shai is meant to have any sort of defensive function. Maybe she's not fully informed. When Shai came out and accuracy was limited, some high-end players made full evasion Shai and sat in red battlefield. People complained. Shai's 6% isn't enough to balance out the changes in available accuracy. This benefit has been nullified. Thanks to I believe Shai was meant to have an evasion passive rate, but was never added to the class because of the early complaints. Thanks a lot idiot memers, who have now moved on to Striker. I'm damage reduction now, but I still think PA should have added what it still state that the class has. Did PA mean quick 2 and it was an error of wording? Nah, quote, they have a high basic evasion rate. Quick 2 is a level 51 skill and does not fulfill what I would see as high basic evasion rate. That sounds more like Striker's passive of 10%, always active, from low level. This evasion rate should not be massive, maybe 3%. To fully correct this issue, and in line with what we see from other classes and Shai's proposed position in the game, she needs a castable defensive skill which boosts damage reduction and evasion. With a range of 2%, 3% and 5% evasion per skill level and 5.